Queen City News is your local election headquarters. Early voting begins today for the South Carolina Republican presidential primary. State election officers or officials say voters should make sure their voter registration is updated before you come out to vote.
And also making sure to be able to bring a valid photo ID. Now, the voter registration election office is open today through Saturday from 8:30 in the morning to 6 p.m. Now, the actual primary date is Saturday, February 24th.
Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joins us now. And Khalif, Nikki Haley, she's hoping to secure her home state here in the primary. That's a tough road to hoe when Donald Trump already has a pretty good footing here.
It would take a miracle. That's about the best way I can describe it. I mean, she would think that you'd have home field advantage in any other race. If you're talking about, something else on the national level, yes. But you're talking about President of the United States. Unless she could become a MAGA Republican, it's not going to happen. I looked at a number of polls in that state. Most of them say they would support Donald Trump. Most of them say they would support a MAGA Republican, and they say that she's neither one of them. And so because she can't become Donald Trump tomorrow and can't change her philosophy on some of the extreme ideologies that the MAGA Republicans may buy into, I don't think it's possible at all. And it's crazy because she has very good approval ratings. Folks say they would support her. 60+% loved what she did as a governor, but would not support her at all as the president. So I think it will be a landslide.
What's interesting in this race, though, is Nikki Haley is definitely getting out there more in South Carolina than Trump is. I mean, she is just everywhere you look. This weekend, she was in the Columbia area. And I feel like, is that registering with the difference of winning South Carolina? And also I want you to comment on how personal it's getting. Over the weekend, Trump made a comment about her husband not being around, and that created a whole big conversation about her husband is serving overseas. He's in the military. And does that lose the military vote then?
So two parts. The first portion I'll say is that's what former President Trump does. He makes these types of comments. And so do I think that her appearance is out there in trying to meet and greet people, trying to make sure she's knocking doors, shaking hands, doing phone calls, phone banging, all that stuff? I think that's grassroots politics, and it works to an extent. If you're going against anybody else, it would be extremely beneficial. But who she's going against, her opponent, it won't help at all. He's everywhere all at the same time. His criminal cases, his civil cases, his appearances, his rallies, he's everywhere all over the place. So while you may have a rally in the middle of South Carolina, he's on everyone's channel, on the local side, on the national side. Everyone's talking about him. And so even if they don't want to hear him, they're hearing him. And so she can't catch up with the lead. She can't compete with his voice. And because he's dominated the conversation, it's an insurmountable amount. In terms of the military portion, I think that was a misstep in terms of him attacking her. But that's what he does. He makes personal attacks. He wants you to get down in the dirt, in the mud with him so you can forget who you are and have that conversation with him, which nobody wants to have.
She may not win her home state, but there's a chipping away effect that the polling shows that the longer it goes into the trials and everything, even if she doesn't win, she gains a little bit of support here and there.
And I think
that possibility is very real.
That's the only path to victory. When you sit down there and meet with candidates, what you're talking about is, what is your number? How can you get to a victory? And statistically, she has no way to get to a victory in a one-on-one match going into a in a primary election. But she has a path to victory if he's not in the race at all. That's the only path to victory, and she's the last person standing.
And of course, since I was able to talk with her one-on-one, I specifically asked her that in terms of, if you don't win South Carolina, does that mean that you're going to step out of the race? And she said no. I think she's very aware in terms of what the numbers are, but her whole thing is, if I have support and it makes sense for me to stay in, we are early in on the process in terms of how many delegates both Trump and Haley both have.
When I first got in politics, someone said it's a great idea for you to want to do something. It's even better for other folks to want you to do it. And so if people will support her both financially and support her by giving her the motivation to go out there, I think that is the only path to victory, by her being just the only candidate that's left. If he's convicted, if he decides, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, it will have to be something that Trump will have to do. It won't be anything that she will do that will allow her to win, because even with the conviction, he can still run and hold the office. And so that doesn't stop him. But it does make it really challenging.
Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes will be watching on February 24th on a Saturday.
Yeah.